and welcome to my channel. I am Tammy Oster, the designer at badbobbin.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little watermelon slice luggage tag. The flap, clear window, strap, snaps. And we're also, with my luggage tag, we're featuring a designer vinyl pack by DazzletownEmbroideryVinyl.com. So I'm making it with their vinyl pack for the summer. This is what the vinyls look like in the three, and I made a luggage tag to go with it, and I will show you what you'll need and the different hoops that we can do it in and the options. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and remember to ring that bell and you'll get more notifications of some awesome videos from me. See you at the cutting table, and let's get started on our project. Okay, this is what we need to make our watermelon luggage tag. I said I would show you the pack that is from DazzletownEmbroideryVinyl.com. This is the watermelon summer. It's called Summer Pack, and it comes with the three different print colors, which is part of the watermelon. So it kind of turned out good for this little luggage tag for it. We're going to need, this can be done in two different ways. I'm going to show you the 6x10 hoop. This is actually a little bit larger, it's for my baby lock. But the design is all in one hoop, and I can show you how to do it this way. Or you can do it in two parts of 4x4 or the 5x7, and the 5x7. So it can be done in two parts, or you can do it all in one hoop. And I'll show you how in this hoop for this video. So we're first going to need our watermelon pattern part, which is going to be our back side with the window, and we'll need our clear piece. So we need, if the printed will be 5 by 4.5 or a 4.5 by 4.5. So since the pattern is laid this way, it'll be the 4.5 by 4.5. If you're going to do it in the 4 by 4, you may want to, depending on how you, if you're doing a pattern of how you're going to lay this in your 4 by 4 hoop. So if it's diagonal, you'll want a little bit bigger piece. If you're just going to not care about the print, you can do the 4.5 by 4.5. So that'll be the one piece with our window. And our clear little window piece will be 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. Must be the small size. You don't want it hanging over. Then when we go to our second part of our watermelon, the outside of our tag, you're going to need your red piece. This will be the 5 by 4 1/4. And then we're going to do our little watermelon rind. This will be 5 by 2, and then we're going to have our strap. And our strap, I did it both ways, so when we attach the strap, you can have whichever side you want hanging out of it. So this piece here for our strap is 1 inch by 7.5 inches. So it's 1 by 7.5, not 8. So it's two pieces of 1 by 7.5. That's what's going to fit right at the top here in our pattern. Or on the 5 by 7, it'll be also at the top, and it will be the last part. So those are our pieces that we need. Then we have just our cutting tools for our straight edge, 4.5 curved, which I use for the window part, which will be great. Our one set of cam snaps, and then other tools are simple, easy tearaway I use to get in the corners if I need to with hemostats, and our inexpensive 99-cent store scissors are what's great for vinyl. So we're ready with all our tools. We will head on over to the sewing machine and meet you there. Okay, we're at the machine, and I have everything set up for my 6x10 hoop, and the pattern is set up also in there, and it looks like this. We're going to have the number 1, and then number 2, and then we've got the strap, which is number 3, and it's all done in the one pattern. You'll set up your stops, and you'll set up your colors, color changes also. And we're going to put the hoop in, and the first thing we're going to do is we will sew out. I just use plain old 99-cent store masking tape. This is, I have some pieces ready to go, all torn off, that will be holding our pieces together with just plain masking tape. And the first thing I'm going to sew out, I did move, to let you know my pattern, I moved it down and to the far corner for this video so that you can see, and it will sew towards this corner of my hoop. You can set it up in the center if you want, or you know, to utilize your stabilizer, you can move it all to your corners or wherever you want to put it. So first thing we're going to do is stitch out our placement lines. First two placement lines are going to be the outline, so we know how big our piece is and where to center it, and our second thing is going to be the placement line for our clear window. My clear piece now, and I kind of want to cut this little knot out the back here. Use our little 4-inch scissors just to cut the knots off the back. Less bulk. There we go. Put the clear piece, and we're going to center it. And then I'm going to tape it down really close at the edge, not over on the stitching part. I don't want to stitch into my tape. Sorry for the noise. I live on a busy street. My windows are closed, and it's still very noisy. All right, so I've taped down my clear vinyl, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch one more time and have it tack down my clear vinyl. I'm going to take off my tape and I am going to clip around so that the clear is not in the stitched line for our final tack down. I don't want that extra bulk. I don't want it, you know, your needle can only go through so much, so we're going to clear away that extra on the lines. And I'll show you real quick. There we go. So it's tacked down, but I went ahead and cut off my little corners in here so that it wasn't over my line. And the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to place my vinyl. And this vinyl is kind of a little directional. You can see the lollipops, the little ice creams, popsicles are kind of going one way, so it's a little bit directional. So I might just go ahead and place that down so it kind of is directional for my watermelon. And I'm going to tape it down just to secure it. This is the time where I don't use the tacky spray, because I don't want it to stick or onto my clear vinyl piece. So I taped it down a little bit and then put it back in the machine, and we're going to stitch out our it's going to be the outline and tack down for the window part, and then the final all around tack down of the watermelon shape. So what it did was our little window that we're going to partially cut out for our luggage tag, and it just did the top part of the watermelon where the bite is. So we're going to go ahead and take our tape off, and this piece has to come out of the hoop because this will be joining onto the back side of our other one. So we're going to carefully flip it over. And then I'm going to, so that I know where my outline is for this, I'm going to carefully cut this out. Your 4-inch will work good. It's just tear away, so not going to be that hard. But we want to get it kind of close so that we aren't tearing too much of the stabilizer out. There we go. So I've cut it out of there. We're still using this stabilizer in the hoop. Now we're going to do part 2, which is going to be over here on this side of the stabilizer. The first thing we're going to do is our placement line, and then once that's done, I'm going to pull it out and put my other piece on it. So this is part 1 finished. If we did it in the 4x4, it would be the same thing. We would just tear it out of the 4x4. Since I've cut it out, what I'm going to do now is tear my stabilizer off of this piece and prepare it and be ready. We don't want any stabilizer or in between the windows, or you're not going to get it out once we put the two pieces together. So we're going to stitch out now our part 2. Right. We will now put, this is our red part or watermelon color, and I'm going to, and this one here, if you want, you can tacky spray it down or we can tape it. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape it and place that on top. Make sure we're centered. We'll pop it back in, and it's going to tack it down, and then it's going to give us our placement line for our rind. We're going to now, we have our guideline as to how high we have to go to make sure it's in there, and how low. So the height of it is where our green line is, and then the bottom here. So our piece is going to go right on top of that. Tape it down. Back in. And this will be the tack down for our rind. So what I want to do, I don't want to cut all of it out because, it didn't sew around the top, or I'm sorry, it didn't sew around the bottom. It only did the top part. I'm going to go ahead and cut close to the top part here. I'm going to cut close, leave the rest, and the reason why it didn't sew here is I'm a minimalist, so the less stitching, the less it's going to cut through your vinyl, the less bulkiness. There's no need for all those stitches that many times around it. So we just did the minimum up here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and then we'll go ahead and do our eyelet for our strap. So let's cut first. And this is where the 4-inch curved scissors come in handy on how we're going to cut and how close to cut. So I'm going to turn it. The part I'm going to hold is the part that I'm going to throw away. The part we're keeping is the part that's on the right side of our pattern when we cut. We don't want to snip, we just want to do small cuts and then open our scissors back up and continue to glide it along. We don't want to snip because that leaves rough edges and doesn't look very nice. So we've got a nice little curve there. I'll show that to you again. So I've cut just the top and left all the rest on the bottom. I'm going to put it back in the hoop, into the machine. Our next stitch out is going to be the next stitch out will be the eyelet. And that's where we're going to line up our back pieces with that eyelet. So that's done. And I'll go ahead showing you carefully. I'm just kind of getting my scissors. I'm holding the bottom a little bit so that it's not shifting or, you know, displacing the stabilizer in my hoop. So I made a little bit of a hole, and I'm just going to carefully kind of tear it a little bit. Okay, but with the seeds, it's, you know, might be a little tough depending on what type of stabilizer you have. If it's a lightweight, one that, you know, tears really easy. This one is, I think I get this one from Thread Art. It's a very kind of thin. And then I also, for a little bit thicker or other ones, I use the little bit heavier, medium. It's almost like paper. It's a little bit thicker. That one I think I get from Designs by Little Bee. That was my other stabilizer. So I've got most of what I want out. So the next thing, what we're going to try to do is carefully, you want to line up on the back side, your piece number 1, you're going to line up with the eyelets, where the eyelets will line up, because your strap's going to go through. What's going to happen is we're going to end up sewing the two pieces together. The top parts will not sew, because the top part is where you're going to put your paper inside, and then the strap will go back through it and hold it close so your paper doesn't fall out. So it's not going to completely finish the whole thing, but what we're going to do is line it up, and the two pieces will be together. And if we line it up properly, then our top two will line up good as well. There we go. I'm going to kind of watch also, you can kind of look underneath and guide the stitches here that are coming out from the top. You can guide them along here too as well. So that's a little bit tricky part. Sorry for the noise again. It's like a drag strip around here. So let's check both sides. And the top. I think we're going to do pretty good here. So we'll tape it down. And I'm going to make sure I really tape this good. I don't want it shifting or moving when I put it back in. And get all my corners done. There we go. And I lightly press. I don't press too hard. And then I'm going to flip it over kind of quick and then press and make sure my tape is really adhered. So this way it's even and it's not going to push my stabilizer out of my hoop. So we're going to carefully put it back in the machine, lifting up a little bit so it doesn't get caught on the plate. We want to make sure when I get it in there that I look underneath real quick, making sure it didn't get caught or misplaced. And here we go. This will be the last part that let me see, we're going to stitch out the part to hold our luggage, I'm lost for words, sorry, our luggage tag all together, and then our last thing is going to be the strap, which is still done in this one hoop. There we go. There we go. And make sure our back is done correctly. Looks good. It's back. If you want, you can use the same color thread in your bobbin. I did not. I totally forgot about that. So that might be a good idea. Actually, it'll be a better idea. We all make mistakes, and I just did it. So you don't make the mistake. I'll show you the mistake I made. I should have used red bobbin thread on the back. I forgot about that. So to let you know, use the same bobbin thread that you're going to use on the top as you will on the bottom when you do the luggage tag for both sides. And if you don't real care about it, then there we go. You can leave it. It's not too bad. So our next part is going to be, I'm going to take the tape off the one because it's right at the top there. remove the tape off that one, is I'm going to do now the strap part. So the strap part is going to be across the top here, and the first stitch out is going to be the placement line, and then after that I'll pull it out and I'm going to attach the bottom part and then turn it back over and attach the top part and then sew out the last. Pull this out, and what I'm going to do, what happened was I should have cut the tip off. Be sure to do this because I ended up sewing right through the tip of this one. So, and it's going to be a single stitch, not a triple stitch here like this one. It'll be the correct way for you. Whoops, I moved that, sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut a little bit of this off the top here too, just to double check. There we go. Is I'm going to go ahead and attach my back piece first. So like I said, I've done both ways when I cut this. I cut one way and I cut one long ways, one horizontal, one vertical. So I'm going to attach, doesn't matter which one. And this is the same thing, you might want to use the green bobbin thread if you want, or if you don't care and it's going to be the inside strap, you can leave it for white, and I'm just going to leave it for white now. And this one, I don't care. I'm using the tacky spray to tack this down, and I'm making sure I am vertically and horizontally centered. There we go. And that piece is done and stuck. I'm going to do the same thing with my top piece. Tiny bit of tacky spray. I'm going to center it. There we go. So I have both pieces done. Or you can go ahead and tape it down if you want to. Tape here. Make sure it's stuck. I'm going to put this back in the hoop. There we go. Make sure nothing shifted. It's underneath. It's on my plate. And we'll do the bean stitch, and we're ready to go. Alright, and we are done. So we've got our strap and our luggage tag all done, and let's head on back to the cutting table and show you how to finish it off. We're finished stitching it out. I'm going to take stabilizer off. I'll take it out of the hoop, and then I'm going to tear all the stabilizer off and then come back to showing you how I do the cutting. Alright, we've got stabilizer, trim some of the threads that are hanging. I singe them just to get that little knot there so it won't come undone or fray. Same thing with this. Check it out. There's no spots anywhere. There we go. A little bit right here. And press it down. There we go. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut it out all around where the outer of the design. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how I'm doing the little window flap, and then cutting out on this piece the center as well. All right. trim. So I've cut all around it, did my straight edge with the straights, and when I do straight, I do 1/8, and I take that 1/8 line and go on the inside of my stitch. So it's just a little under 1/8 that's being left from my stitching. So I've got the strap, and I'm going to use my 4-inch curved embroidery scissors to do my window. And you can do either way, it's up to you. You can either cut the whole window out, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a flap, because sometimes you don't want your tag and your information, if you're standing there with your luggage or whatever it is you're using, you really don't want all your information being visible to the people standing in line with you or anything. Especially if you have like your phone number and address and everything, you know, knowing you're going on vacation, they're checking your address, just all kinds of safety things. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it so that it has a flap to cover over it. So I'm only going to cover, or I'm only going to cut from my top edge here around the bottom and then back up, and I'm going to leave the rest. That way there's a flap to open it if they need to check, and it'll flap back down and cover your information. So I'm going to start at the top. If you're looking at this way, it's your top left side. I'm turning it, so I'm going to start here on the top corner. You're just going to kind of a little bit, you can stick your finger in there to get an idea. You don't want to go through the clear, so you're just going to gently put the tip through, and you'll feel it as it goes through, that it did not inside go through your clear part. So it's just at an angle. Start your little hole. You can feel that it didn't go through the clear plastic, and you're just going to cut gently, and you don't want to snip it. Especially if we're not going to remove it, you don't want to actually snip you're just going to do small little cuts, keeping your scissors in there tight. I'm going to go around and being careful. You just want to do small little cuts. You don't want to go through your thread. You want to make nice even so it looks nice and it's going to close nice. Curve again, and we're going to go up the other side, and then here right at the end is when I'm going to just do my last little clip in there at the end, and that's it. So I'm going to leave it so it's got a flap. There's going to be a card in here or whatever paper you're going to put in, so you don't need to worry about that. This is less bulk as well. You don't want any extra ounces added to your luggage. So it's here, you're going to have your paper slide in, and it's going to cover that anyways. So and the flap goes down, there we go. So my next thing to cut out is going to be on this side. And I'll use the same thing as my little, so I'm going to put my hand in between there so I can feel it. And I'm just going to wedge the corner and then go ahead and cut out really easy with the scissors. Same thing you did on the other one first. You can wait and leave them till the end, but I like to cut out the other, the one for the bottom first when you're sewing. There we go. I like to cut this one out, that way when you're lining it up on the back side, you can see through your hole. I'm just going to trim it and clean it up a little bit. So I leave it open so when I'm lining it up, I can see through it and make sure I'm lined up with the next bottom piece. So it actually lined up pretty well right there, so you can see right through it. So our strap will be the next thing that's going to go through, and the strap is what's going to keep it closed and your information from falling out. I'm going to show you how to do that. Oh, I have a little thread here. Done. It's our cute little watermelon information luggage tag. I'm going to go ahead now and show you, clean up my mess, sorry. I'm going to show you how we do the strap. And since I did the one side with just a white bobbin, I'm going to use that for the inside of my strap. So either way, this can be done either way. But I'm going to keep that on the inside and leave the nice green on the outside. So I'm going to I'm going to make a hole on each end, and this is where you can make your decision also. If you want your strap to close like this, or if you want your strap to be round around the handle or whatever it is. I prefer a round instead of flat. So being round, I'm going to make sure I have my top, and then as it comes around this way, it's going to have to snap in, so I'm going to make sure that I put my cap on the bottom side. So one end will have the cap on this side and the other side. Okay? And then I'm going to add my male and female, and I'm going to go over and do it on my table press instead of on the hand press, but this is what the hand press looks like, and I'll be right back. Alright, here we go, and it's going to snap. Perfect. No problems. If you have anything to invest in, I would suggest, if you do a lot of snap tabs, is to invest in that table press. So much better than the hand press. Your wrist doesn't hurt, you don't have problems. I've never yet, using the table press, ever had a snap come undone on me, and I've gone through multiple layers of vinyl. So our last step here, once we have that all done and cut out, picture real quick, sorry. And we're going to put our strap through, and there we go. That is our watermelon luggage tag, featuring the vinyl, little vinyl packs called Summer Pack. It's the vinyl summer pack from DazzletownEmbroideryVinyl.com. They're the ones who I'm featuring today with their vinyl, but I let you know. And it's a cute little watermelon luggage tag. And the design is from badbobbin.com. So don't forget to go to the badbobbin.com for the purchase of this watermelon luggage tag. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, please give me a thumbs up, a like. Any suggestions in the comments down below would be great. Remember to subscribe. You'll get more notifications on more awesome designs that I make. So this is the watermelon luggage tag featuring the vinyl from DazzletownEmbroideryVinyl.com. Thanks for joining me. See you at the cutting table.